the Kenya Medical Research Institute for Financial, the Kenya Medical Research Institute rather, and this is the audit report for the financial year 2012 to 2013, 2013 to 2014, and finally, the Kenya Medical Laboratory Technicians and Technologists Board for the financial year 2014-2015, all through to 2020-2021. The debate on this motion is already concluded upon, and what remains is for the question to be put. This afternoon, the House is also set to consider the nominees for the first constituency, Isiolo South, Nandi Hills constituency, Mumia East constituency, and these four constituencies have their nominees that will be serving in the CDF boards in various constituencies, the constituencies listed. And away from that, the Division of Revenue Bill, this is an amendment bill, National Assembly Bills number 38 of the year 2024, is another motion lined up for debate this afternoon. This motion is usually the debate by members who will be debating the various amendments proposed in the Division of Revenue Bill, this being an amendment bill, Bill number 38 of the year 2024. This afternoon, the inspection visit to semi-autonomous institutions of the East African Community in Uganda is a motion that will be inspected the semi-autonomous institutions of the East African Community in Uganda 29th of November 2024.
Sergeant, ring the bell. Make at order number 2, but we'll do it slightly later. Next.
Thank you. Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions.
Majority Leader, papers.
The microphone. Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. Honorable Speaker, I think we could defer it when the papers come in, we'll be able to lay them.
Okay. Next order. Hold on. Chairperson, Budget and Appropriations Committee. You have a paper to lay. Vice Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Environment. Owen, where are your chairpersons? Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 6th August 2024. Reports of the Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs on its consideration of, number 1, the President's Memorandum on Reservation to the Penal Code Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 56 of 2022, and the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 11 of 2024. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I beg to lay.
Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Environment and Forestry. Majority Leader.
Honorable Speaker, probably we need to defer to a later time.
But you just told me you have them.
No, my papers are ready.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Tuesday, August 6th, 2024. Legal notice number 106 of 2024 relating to the mining, royalty collection and management regulations 2024 and the explanatory memorandum from the Ministry of Mining, Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs. 2, special audit report of the Auditor General on the importation of edible oils by the Kenya National Trading Corporation Limited. 3, report on the progress of implementation of the Beijing Platform for Action, Review and Appraisal from the Ministry of Gender, Culture, the Arts and Heritage. 4, reports of the Auditor General and financial statements of NGCDF in respect of the following constituencies for the year ended 30th June 2023 and the certificates therein. Bura, Butula, Buri, Chuka Igambangombe, Ganze, Garsen, Gatanga, Gatundu South, Jomvu, Kamkunji, Kiambaa, Kiharu, Kilifi South, Kwanza, Lamu East, Lamu West, Malindi, Mathira, Msambweni, Pokot South, Ruaraka, Sigor, Subukia, Thika Town, and Westlands. Honorable Speaker, I thank you and I beg to lay.
Thank you, Owen. Is the Chairperson Budget and Appropriations Committee here now? And Environment, Forestry and Mining? Who are the members of that committee? Okay. Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, questions and statements.
Honorable Edith Nyenze, Member Kitui West.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 44, 2C, I rise to request for a statement from the Chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Education regarding the fate of P1 teachers who upgraded their education with the hope of being observed into the junior secondary school, that is JSS, under the upgrade diploma in primary teacher education, that is UDPTE. Honorable Speaker, approximately 4 years ago, primary school teachers were advised to go back to college to upgrade their courses. Teachers who undertook the course, the 3-year diploma course, compressed into a 1-year program, paid a lot of money as school fees. Additionally, these teachers made several personal sacrifices, such as limiting time with their families and taking financial loans to achieve their academic requirement. Regrettably, these efforts have been unsuccessful, as teachers have not been observed in the junior secondary schools. Neither has there been a salary increment. Additionally, these teachers are yet to receive their diploma certificates upon completion of the 1-year course. Further, some of the teachers who upgraded their skills remain unemployed to date. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I seek a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Education on the following. Number 1, could a report be provided on the policy framework under which the Teacher Service Commission directed P1 teachers to upgrade their courses? Number 2, when will the said teachers receive certificates for the diploma course they pursued? Number 3, explain the reasons why the Teacher Service Commission is yet to prioritize and consider P1 teachers whom it advised to augment their education for observation as junior secondary school teachers. Number 4, what steps has the Teacher Service Commission taken to ensure that the P1 teachers who upgraded their education but are still out of employment yet are in possession of the requisite skills and knowledge are observed at the rightful job grades? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Chairperson, Education, Melly.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think the issues raised by the member are very weighty and they are very important. And I think we'll bring back a statement from the Teacher Service Commission in 2 weeks' time. Thank you.
Do you say when?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm saying that the issues she has raised are very, very weighty and of national importance. We shall actually invite the Teacher Service Commission and I'll bring a comprehensive statement before the House in 2 weeks' time.
2 weeks. So that. Honorable Monica Marubu, member for Lamu County.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to request a statement regarding the implementation of Hindi Magogoni Settlement Scheme, Phase 2, Lamu County. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to provisions of Standing Order number 44-2C, I like to request a statement from the chairperson, the Departmental Committee of Lands, regarding the issuance of title deeds for Hindi Magogoni Phase 2 Settlement Scheme, Lamu County. The Hindi Magogoni Settlement Scheme was established in 1978 with an objective of promoting sustainable agriculture in a coastal region. Despite the families having lived on the 16,000 acres of land for over 40 years, they are yet to receive title deeds. More specifically, Mr. Speaker, the villages of Mukoe, Belebele, Kalavu, Senambio, Magogoni, Kwasasi, Chomo, Mkondoni, Roka Baghdad, Roka A, Roka B, Bobo Raha, Bobo Sonkia, Msumarini, and Mvinjeni. Consequently, Honorable Speaker, the scheme has been marred by land disputes and has attracted land speculators, leaving hundreds of families in a state of uncertainties regarding their land's right, Honorable Speaker. The national government, in collaboration with the county government of Lamu, had completed a PDP plan number 108 of 2021. The physical plan envisioned to develop the area. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I seek a statement from the chairperson, the Departmental Committee on Lands, on the following. 1, could the chairperson explain why it has taken inordinately long for the team at the Ministry of Lands to conclude this exercise, which squarely is a national government function as provided for in the Lands Act 2012, considering the affairs from the national government were facilitated by the county government to complete the survey work for issuance of the title deeds to a tune of 18 million. Number two, could the chairperson provide the timelines within which the issuance of these title deeds to the legitimate beneficiary of the Hind Settlement Scheme Phase 2 will be completed? And finally, Honorable Speaker, could the chairperson provide a list of the original beneficiaries of the 19,019 acres of land in the Hindi Magogoni Phase 1 settlement scheme? I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Chairman, Lands Committee. Wapi Nyamoko? Any member of the committee? Yes, Honorable Nyamai, can you bring a statement in 2 weeks?
Yes, on behalf of the chair, Honorable Speaker, we'll get a statement in 2 weeks. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Dawood, what is it?
Mr. Speaker, I want to refer you to my bill, Senate Bill 12 of 2023, the Livestock Prevention and Theft Bill.
Can we finish statements first before I give you an opportunity? Member for Ruiru, Simon Kingara. Go on, Honorable Member.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me this opportunity to request for a statement regarding the collapse of Mebre Bridge in Oro constituency. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 44.2c, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure on the collapsed Mebre Bridge in Oro constituency. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Mebre Bridge serves as critical link between the Eastern Bypass and the Thika Superhighway, functioning as the principal route connecting the residents of Biashara Ward, Katongora Ward, and Getodua Ward in Rural constituency. In May 2024, Mr. Speaker, the bridge was swept away by France, severely disrupting the local transportation system. This had residents of Mebre area facing challenges in directly accessing their homes, as well as students going to the schools. The residents are now forced to make a 10-kilometer detour via Loiro to join the northern bypass in order to reach their homes and other facilities. The prolonged delay in constructing the bridge has caused significant inconvenience to the affected communities. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure on the following, Mr. Speaker. The specific measures being put in place by the government to reconstruct the Mebre Bridge, including a detailed timeline of completion. Mr. Speaker, measures put in place to have temporary crossing solution, particularly to facilitate students accessing school in the area. Thirdly, Mr. Speaker, the reason for the inadvertent delay in the rebuilding of the bridge and the steps being taken to expedite reconstruction to avert further suffering. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair, Transport and Infrastructure. Yes, Vice Chair. Give him the mic.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Not the Vice Chair, but a member of the committee. On behalf of our Chair who has just stepped out, I think having heard the question, we endeavor to present the response to this House and to the member in the next 2 weeks.
2 weeks it is. Thank you. I'll go back to papers. Chairperson, Budget and Appropriations Committee. Dindi Nyoro.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers.
Before you do so, remember that I've called out this twice when you are not in the chamber, so you know what to do.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. My apologies. I was making sure that members will have this report, so I was overseeing that, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 6th August 2024, report of the Budget and Appropriations Committee on its consideration of the Division of Revenue Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 38 of 2024. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. For the last time, Vice Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Environment, Forestry, and Mining. Honorable Cameron. Go ahead.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I want to also apologize for coming late. I was also preparing for the same. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Thursday, 16 August 2024. The report of the Departmental Committee on Environment, Forestry, and Mining on its consideration of the Environmental Management and Coordination Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 66 of 2023. Thank you.
Thank you. Next order. We have two responses to statements. Yes. Dr. Mutunga on the statement by Honorable Geoffrey Ruku.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to read the statement by on the request by Honorable Geoffrey Ruku, MP. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to starting on number 44.2c, the Honorable Geoffrey Ruku, MP, requested for a statement on the 21st of March 2024 regarding the continued sale of Roundup by Mbeya East Africa Limited. The Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development responded as follows to the issues raised in that particular statement. Honorable Speaker, under the first question was, under what circumstances has Mbeya East Africa continued to sell Roundup in the country for use in weed control, despite the fact that Roundup, despite Roundup being scientifically linked to cancer? The response, Honorable Speaker, is that Roundup is a glyphosate-based product that has been widely used worldwide as a herbicide to control weeds for several decades. Honorable Speaker, the statement further reads that Mbeya East Africa has continued to sell Roundup in the country because it is registered and approved by the Pest Control Products Board for use as post-emergent systemic herbicide for the control of weed in various crops. Though Roundup and other glyphosates-based products have been linked to cancer, several organizations like the Pest Control Products Board, Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, and the World Health Organization have undertaken studies on glyphosate-based products. In 2019, PCBB and a team of scientists reviewed scientific studies on glyphosate and established that there was no evidence linking the glyphosate-based products to cancer in human beings. Honorable Speaker, in 2016, FAO and World Health Organizations undertook baseline risk assessment of glyphosate-based products and established that glyphosate is unlikely to pose carcinogenic risk to the human beings. The second issue that Honorable Roko raised is what studies and findings are by East Africa documented and are submitted to the relevant government agencies on the effects of Roundup, including profiled cases of harmful exposure, the mitigation measures, and the compensation for extended, the compensation so far extended to victims of carcinogenic effects on the Roundup in Kenya. The response, Honorable Speaker, goes as follows. The assessment of human risk inquiries, identification, compilation, and integration of information on the health hazards of our chemical, human exposure to the chemical, and relationship among exposure, dose, and adverse effects. As with all pest control products, Bayer East Africa Limited submitted scientific data packages supporting the quality and safety of Roundup as required by the law. The data packages included purity and impurity profile, identity, that is the chemistry, toxicology, which is acute and long-term studies, and which incorporated acute and long-term studies, the effects on the environment and the beneficial organisms, efficacy data, and also residual data. There have been no reported cases directly linking the use of glyphosate-based products to cancer in Kenya, based on the information provided to Pest Control Products Board by the Ministry of Health. The Ministry of Health is represented in the Pest Control Products Board of Directors as required by Section 5.2 of the Pest Control Products Board Act, CAP 346 of 1982, and in the Technical and Registration Committee of the board. The third issue that the Honorable Roko raised was why has the Pest Control Products Board not banned the use of Roundup in the country, and when does the government intend to act so as to protect Kenyans from the risk of cancer resulting from continued use or exposure to Roundup? Honorable Speaker, PCPB has registered and approved the use of Roundup as post-emergent systemic herbicide for the control of weeds in the country. The decision of not banning the use of Roundup was informed by the review of the scientific information on the glyphosate, which indicated that there is no evidence showing that continued use of Roundup exposes human beings to cancer when used according to the label instructions. Honorable Speaker, the government of Kenya, through PCPB, is committed to protecting Kenyans and the environment for posterity through science-based decision-making. PCPB will take appropriate measures as required by law if they get any new information on Roundup. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. That is the response.
Thank you, Honorable Mutunga. Honorable Ruku.
Mr. Speaker, thank you so much. I read the answer and also have listened to Honorable Mutunga. And Mr. Speaker, the manner in which this matter was taken by the Minister of Agriculture is extremely worrying. It is true, the evidence is there that the Bayer International has been fined by the government, by the United States of America justice administrative system of the United States. And not only that, also Bayer International has been fined by some of the Europe nations, Germany included. And the same product are being traded in our country. And that's why the farming communities in part of the Republic of Kenya, we have seen a huge rise of cancer in where agriculture is a main form of economic activity. Mr. Speaker, I would propose that the Minister of Agriculture to appear in front of the Committee of Agriculture. And I be summoned so that I can come and table the evidence which I have, the scientific journals which I have to prove that whatever Bayer International or Bayer East Africa is selling in Kenya market as carcinogenic elements which are causing cancer in the Republic of Kenya. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Dr. Mutunga and the member who filed the question. The Deputy Speaker brought a motion to this House, a petition rather, on the same issue. Mutunga, has it come to your committee? No, it goes to the Public Petitions Committee, alleging exactly the same things. I would advise Honorable Ruku that you go and prosecute your issue before the Committee on Public Petitions, so that when the outcome comes to the House, then you can further debate, and if you agree with the findings, whatever they will be, then we can follow up with implementation. Yes, Deputy Speaker. Give the Deputy Speaker. Yes.
Honorable Speaker, thank you. I think on this issue of the petition on pesticides that I had placed, it was processed through the committee, and then the implementation has not been done. So we have on many occasions asked the chairperson, Honorable Wanjala, to follow up on it. So it's the committee on implementation are the ones who have failed to act. Thank you.
Is Raphael Wanjala in the House? Majority Leader Owen, can you bring it to the attention? Let me hear Bukose first.
Honorable Speaker, I had actually put on a point of order when I had the response from the Chair of Agriculture. And he did not go into mentioning issues about carcinogenic, because in many of the articles that have been written, lymphomas are said to be developed within 2 years of exposure of high doses of Roundup, which is a glycophosphate. Therefore, I think it would have been important if I think the person who gave him the response did not do proper research, and I would have said that that response was actually unsatisfactory, because it seems to be business-oriented or business-driven, and is not addressing the health issues as pertains to the issue which was raised by the member from Mbeere North. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And I think we will just need, we need a I know as much as Honorable Anjala should be able to respond about implementation, but I think this House needs a better response in terms of, because Kenyans continue on daily basis being exposed to this Roundup. And if we don't address it, then as a House, we'll actually be failing our responsibilities.
Rachel Nyamai.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity to also make a comment on this matter. Honorable Speaker, I have listened to your deputy, the Deputy Speaker, the Honorable Boss, talking about this matter of agricultural chemicals causing cancer. And I've also listened to the response that has been brought by the Chair Agriculture. And also the kindness of the member from Mbeere, the Honorable Ruku, who almost said that he was not satisfied because he says that he would like to engage further. So, Honorable Speaker, I would like also to appeal to you that this matter of using agricultural products that are causing cancer to be handled with the urgency that it deserves. So I am raising, Honorable Speaker, to say that this is a matter that we cannot wait anymore. Our people are suffering and we cannot wait any longer, Honorable Speaker. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
Honorable Rindikiri.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Cancer in male is a very serious killer. Mr. Speaker, we are an agricultural community, and the level of chemicals used in the sector, particularly on the potato growing area, is very high. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Health should be in the forefront in conjunction with the Ministry of Agriculture in determining the kind of chemicals that are applied in our farms. Mr. Speaker, you realize this is not only causing cancer, it's also causing other illness within our community, like where I come from, Bori. Mr. Speaker, where there is very high usage of Roundup, Mr. Speaker, there is a very high level of miscarriage by our mothers. Mr. Speaker, as I said, the level of prevalence of cancer, particularly associated with throat cancer. Mr. Speaker, all what Mr. Loko has said is that these chemicals, by Bayer Chemicals, Mr. Speaker, should be banned from the market. Mr. Speaker, I join those who are advocating for the banning of those chemicals, and I ask that the Minister of Agriculture and the Minister of Health to move with speed so that they determine the magnitude of this problem. I therefore, Mr. Speaker, support this and request that action be taken. Thank you.
Chairman of the committee, Dr. Mutunga.
Thank you.
The Deputy Speaker has something to say first.
Okay.
Take your seat. Yes, the Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'm sorry that I have taken a second bite at this topic, but it's something that's very dear to my heart. I think the issue of pesticides, or even Roundup, as he says, is a big problem in the country. It is known by all levels of government, the challenge. There has been a document called the Pesticide Atlas that was developed by 20 scientists from the University of Nairobi. It has been confirmed that 267 pesticides that are banned in Europe and America are in use in Kenya. The Pest Products Control Board is the one that is supposed to make the list of approved pesticides. Those banned pesticides are still on our list. So the offenders here now are the Pest Products Control Board members. I have written a petition requesting for their removal from office to the Agriculture Minister because they have failed and endangered Kenyans' lives. Also, some of those products, like you said, Roundup. In fact, Roundup is no longer called Roundup. Roundup is now still being sold with the same ingredients, but with a different trade name in Kenya as we speak. In fact, the biggest case that was in the United States, the courts there awarded a farmer who had developed cancer as a result of using Roundup, and he was paid $250 million 20 years ago. That is how seriously it is taken in the US. Unfortunately for us, the United States under Doe companies and Bayer under Europe are allowed by their countries to manufacture the pesticides, but not for use in their country, but for export to a country that is careless and foolish enough to admit them. And Kenya is one of those countries. So the failure here, and that is why when I asked Honorable Wanjala why he has not acted on my petition as recommended by the Health Committee, because the resolution on my petition by the Health Committee said that the Pest Products Control Board should take measures to remove the products from the market. They have failed to do so. So the Implementation Committee should actually summon the Pest Products Control Board. They should summon the Minister of Agriculture. But the issue here is the people who are being fought, the agrochemical companies, are extremely powerful. During the time when I was rallying the country against these products, I was threatened with death. So it is big money. And if we don't act as parliament, we continue to kill our people because it is confirmed that they cause cancer and other non-communicable diseases. And when you talk to the pest, I did visit the Pest Products Control Board. I went to their offices and begged them and told them, please remove these products off the market. What they said to me is that they need to do more research. And I asked them that you do not require to do extra research because when something has already been put in a peer-reviewed medical journal, it is a notice to all doctors across the world. Similarly, and I gave them the example of certain cough syrups were said to cause chest problems for children. The Pharmaceutical Board of Kenya did not do another research. They simply stopped dispensing that medicine. Similarly, when certain hormone replacement therapies were found to cause cervical cancer and breast cancer on women, the gynecologists of Kenya stopped prescribing it. They did not do more research. So I beg the members of parliament to take this more seriously, because in as much as we are trying to invest in cancer treatment, we are also allowing the cancer to come in. And these countries have us where they want. They sell us the cancer-causing pesticides, and then they sell us the cancer drugs to treat our people and the equipment for treating them. So it is actually Parliament that has failed the people of Kenya. The Minister of Agriculture has failed the people of Kenya. And I have informed him, the former minister. I have also the Pest Products Control Board are the biggest criminals in this. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and Parliament must set up on this issue.
Yes, Ruku.
Mr. Speaker, this House has failed the people.
Order, members. Order. Members on their feet, take your seats. You can engage while seated. You don't have to. Take your seats and lower the conversation levels. Ruku?
Mr. Speaker, when I read the statement, I was almost crying. To the extent which
that is not what you say. That's not what you said a few minutes ago.
Yes.
But go on.
I want to echo what Deputy Speaker said, Mr. Speaker, that the Minister of Agriculture has failed totally to take that request for statement seriously. And I want to beseech you, Mr. Speaker, to use the powers of this seat to ensure the Minister of Agriculture and all the bodies who are responsible as far as the pesticide control is concerned in the Republic of Kenya, to ensure that Kenyans will not continue suffering when we have institutions which are supposed to take care of them, that by East Africa may be stopped with immediate effect the sale of Roundup and any other chemical or pesticide which is causing cancer to the majority of the people who are in farming, whether in potatoes, whether in coffee, whether in tea, whether in mogoka, all the crops which are using Roundup. Mr. Speaker, they are affecting even the fishery, because there is scientific evidence that when you spray Roundup in the soil, when it rains, it finds its way into our rivers, it finds its way into our lakes, and even the fish farming is affected by this chemical. I think, Mr. Speaker, we cannot admit that report. I pray that the committee do a good job. The committee must be able to do a good job and prevent the people of the Republic of Kenya. The government of Kenya is using a lot of money in treatment of cancer. We have seen even the treatment of cancer has become a touristic activity, where many Kenyans are going to India and other countries in the hope of
You've
getting
made your
treated.
point.
Mr. Speaker, we take this matter very seriously. Thank you.
Women Rep Nairobi on the same issue. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute. Mr. Speaker, in the last Parliament, I was in the Health Committee, and Honourable Gladys, our Deputy Speaker, Gladys Cholet, came to actually talk to us about the dangers of pesticides to our food and the continued use of them and how they impact our health. We are what we eat. We are eating to die, not to live, if we continue having these products in the market. I mean, you hear countries that have products that they discover are not good being recalled and being removed from all the shelves. It's such a shame that we're discussing this thing and the people who trade in these products have such impunity. I think this is not just the agriculture committee or ministry. This is health, this is agriculture, this is also economic trade. We cannot trade with harmful products in our country that continue to harm our people. So I think it's important that we have a multi-sectorial approach to this, and we ensure that we also do a lot of civic education so that the public out there knows that these products that they're using in their farms will not be able to actually help them in the long term. It actually could end up killing them and killing future generations, because once it's in the soil, we did a study at the Pan-African Parliament on soil management, and that's a model law that we're coming up with. You find that some of these products that we're putting in our soil will take generations for us to actually get our soil back to its standard. So I think it's important that we really take this seriously. We educate the public that these products really should be removed from the shelves. No one should buy them. And I really hope that the Gen Zs are listening, because really they're the young generation that are going to be eating these products as well. And if we've already if most of the generation, the millennials right now in the fossils, have already gotten cancer because of consuming contaminated foods, we don't want the Gen Zs and the next generation to actually follow suit. So it's important for us as government to really take this serious. Pesticides are killing us. They are eroding our soil, and now we are eating to die, not to live. So I really pray that we will have a solution that actually safeguards. And we should also be looking for compensation. Most of these companies are rich companies, and they've exploited Africa. These products are banned in other European countries. They are actually dumping them to us at low-cost prices. People are making astronomical profits. I really believe that heads should turn, and we should be begging for compensation for the people that have gotten cancer in our country because of consuming foods that have been grown with these products. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mama Zamzam.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika. Na mimi niweze pia kuunga dada yangu Mheshimiwa Gladys Cholet. Mheshimiwa Spika, Mheshimiwa Spika, kina mama wengi wanaugua, na hata si kina mama, Kenya watu wengi sana wanaugua magonjwa ya saratani kwa sababu ya yale madawa ambayo yanatumiwa katika mashamba yetu. Mheshimiwa Spika, na sisi tusipokuwa makini Mheshimiwa Spika, hospitali zetu zitajaa kila siku wagonjwa wa kansa. Mheshimiwa Spika, Mheshimiwa Spika, ni dhahiri kuwa kuna watu wamejitokeza kwa kutaka kuweza kuvuna haraka haraka. Mheshimiwa Spika, wanatumia madawa ambayo yanaingizwa hapa kinyume na sheria. Mheshimiwa Spika, kuweza kunyunyizia mimea ndani ya mashamba. Mheshimiwa Spika, na inakuwa inadhuru sana wananchi. Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa hiyo mimi naomba, dada yangu Mheshimiwa Cholet amezungumza na ilikuwa mjadala tulivyoanza bunge, nakumbuka akileta, naomba tuweze kumpa support, tuweze kuweka taifa ambalo litakuwa huru na maradhi ya kansa. Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa kuweza kupigia pondo huu mjadala na kuhakikisha kuwa tunaweka sheria haya madawa yanayotolewa mataifa mengine yakiletwa hapa Kenya kuweza kunyunyizia mashamba yetu. Mheshimiwa Spika, tuweze kuyapinga na kuweza kuyazuia. Mheshimiwa Spika, na wale ambao wanaleta pia wachukuliwe hatua, waweze kufungwa. Mheshimiwa Spika, asante sana dadangu Cholet, umekumbuka kina mama wengi wanalia, hatujui nini ilikuwa inatuuma. Ukiingia ndani ya mabucha wakati mwingine unapata hata kuku anadungwa zile sindani zile. Kuku alikuwa mwembamba anafura. Mheshimiwa Spika, mtu anaenjoy lakini hajui anakula kitu gani. Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa hiyo mimi nakusupport na nasema huu mjadala na hiyo bili yako iweze kupita na iwe sheria. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika.
Dr. Mutunga, you can hear the outrage. It clearly points. Take your seat, Dr. Mutunga, shortly. Dr. Mutunga, order, honorable members. Order. Order, members. Dr. Mutunga, go ahead. Give him the mic.
Honourable Speaker, I have heard my colleagues speak on this particular issue. And Honourable Speaker, when we got this request for statement from the Honourable Ruku, we forwarded the request to the ministry. We did not ask the ministry to come to us so that we may ask straight questions on the details. Honourable Speaker, according to this statement, the safety control is by the PCPB, Pest Control Products Board. And the Pest Control Products Board has got membership from the Ministry of Health, besides those who are engaged in checking out what comes into Kenya and what is used here. Honourable Speaker, most of the pesticides and the herbicides, and the Roundup is a herbicide, it's not a pesticide. It's not supposed to kill the pests. It's supposed to kill weeds. It's therefore supposed to kill the plants. Most of them are dangerous. And on the level, on the branding of most herbicides and pesticides, those that are dangerous are labeled. There is a label that is put on top of that, on the branding. And then there is the need for safe use of pesticides and herbicides. There is a prescription on our speaker on even how somebody should be dressed. There's a protective kit that is invented to protect people as they use these pesticides and herbicides.
Dr. Mutunga.
Honorable Speaker, I just want to conclude by saying this. It is sad that we could have pesticides or herbicides in this country that are carcinogenic. This report says glyphosates are not carcinogenic. There is no report. But I'm happy to hear that my colleague, Honorable Broko, has evidence. I'm also very happy to hear that there are refereed journals which have cited the dangers in some of the glyphosates. Honorable Speaker, I'll be very happy if you could form a joint committee. And this joint committee should have the Ministry of Health, I mean the Health Committee, the Committee on Agriculture, and the Committee on Petitions, so that we can ask straight questions on what kind of evidence do they have, and then present the evidence that we have as members of parliament in order to protect the Kenyans. Honourable Speaker, we should not take the fact that people did not protect themselves as an answer. What we should take is that, is there any evidence that it is causing cancer in our midst? And is there evidence that is actually banned in those other countries? And if it is, Honourable Speaker, we should propose strongly that it is banned in this particular country. I thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Order, honourable members. Honourable Mutunga, the Deputy Speaker has clearly articulated this issue. She brought a petition. The outcome was positive. She's quoted international academic intellectual journals to that effect. We also know as a fact that these chemicals are not sold in the countries that manufacture them. So you can't ask for any further evidence. Just get to the agencies of government that allow these chemicals to come in, including Kenya Bureau of Standards and the other agencies, so that you engage them and bring back a very comprehensive report after the recess that is coming in 2 weeks, so that we can be, as a house, be able to assist the people you represent. You've heard Rindikiri from your region saying what he said, and many other members. So get down to business, get the Committee of Implementation, look at the report from the Petitions Committee, and you'll bring the response after the next recess. Honorable members, yes, Ruku?
I request, Mr. Speaker, I be invited into that committee so that I can table the evidence which I have. Thank you.
Even if you are not invited, go there.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, allow me to acknowledge the following. I don't know if they are still in the gallery, in the public gallery. AIC Messis Primary School from Keses was in Gishu. St. Joseph's International Science School from Ainamoi was in Gishu. Galma Primary School, Garsen, Tana River. Chebanganga Secondary School from Konoin, Bomet. Kataret JSS from Chepalungu, Bomet. If they have already left, we still welcome them nonetheless. They have been in our gallery. Honorable members also seated in the speaker's gallery are students from Starehe Boys Center and School. The students are in Parliament for a period of 2 weeks on a voluntary service scheme. This gives the young men an opportunity to give back.
Member of Parliament for Kathiani constituency regarding the issues of the National PISRA, National Security Regulatory Authority. And the honorable member had sought to be about 6 issues. And I quickly just want to, for the purposes of record, 1, the member wanted to know the constitutionality of the legal notice issued by the Private Security Regulatory Authority on 10th June 2024 relating to the minimum wage. 2, the step which will be taken to revoke the legal notice if found illegality issued and the measures put in place to ensure adherence with the relevant laws while exercising the said directive. 3, the details of the process leading to the determination of minimum wage. 4, whether the powers and the function of the Private Security Regulatory Authority under Section 9 of the Private Security Regulatory Authority Act 2016 also include setting the minimum wage, and whether the powers vested in the authority under Section 32 contemplate non-compliance with the minimum wage as a ground for cancellation of certificate of registration or registration of the security firms. And of course, the reason for failure by the authority to resubmit revised regulations envisaged under the Private Security Regulatory Authority Act 2016. Honorable Speaker, and I want to respond as follows. 1, Honorable Speaker, on 10th June 2024, the Private Security Regulatory Authority issued a public notice published as legal notice number PSRA 002-2024, directing all private security services provided users, prospective users, and representative of the users for the private security services to submit to it legal commitment to comply with a set minimum wage for private security guards. The said legal notice has been a subject of court cases, namely Nairobi ELRC GRE 043/2023, Protective and Safety Association of Kenya versus Private Security Regulatory Authority, and Vazul Muhammad, and 3 others, and Nairobi ELRC petition number E011-2024, John Kipkorir and Private Security Regulatory Authority, and 4 others. The principle of sub judice sub judice militates against commenting on the issues at hand. It suffices to state that what the authority issued as a notice was not supposed to be strictly interpreted as a legal notice, but an administrative action to guide for the industry players. This was an ordinary public notice intended to be acted upon by affecting parties The form of impungent notice should not be interpreted so as to negate its intention, which was clear to all parties concerned. Honorable Speaker, should the court find that the said notice is illegal, it will automatically lose its validity, rendering it null and void. No further action on the part of the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration will be needed. Question number 3, Honorable Speaker, under the Labor Institution Act 2007, wage councils are responsible for recommending to the Cabinet Secretary for Labor the minimum wage payable to workers and their conditions of employment. Wage councils are tripartite bodies comprising workers, employers, and independent experts. The National Labor Board, which is a creature of the Act, is entrusted with the responsibility of advising the Cabinet Secretary for Labor on appointment of the Wage Council. Once the Wage Council makes the recommendation on the minimum wage and the condition of employment, the Cabinet Secretary may approve the same, after which a wage order is issued through the Kenya Gazette. What the authority did, Mr. Speaker, was not to determine the minimum wage for private security guards, but interpret the relevant wage order, which is the Regulation of Wages, Amendment Order 2022, Legal Notice Number 125 of 1st July 2022, as issued by the Cabinet Secretary for Labor. The order came into effect on 1st May 2022 and was the basis for arriving at the contested figures. Regarding question number 4, Honorable Speaker, as noticed above, the power and responsibility of setting the minimum wage is vested upon the Minister for Labor after recommendation of the Wage Council. Under the said section, the authority is mandated to provide and set standards that ensure compliance with the minimum wage regulation. The authority acted in accordance with the section when it required employers of the private security guards to give legal commitment that they will pay them the minimum wage as per the said wage order. In the process of setting minimum wage, the authority is a stakeholder and may make a recommendation to the Wage Council. These recommendations are to be considered alongside those of other many industry players. The Ministry of Interior and National Administration and as the Salary and Remuneration Commission has no role to play in the determination of wage for the private security guard. Their role, if any, are limited to state public offices. On the last, number 5, Honorable Speaker, under Section 32 of the Act, the authority is mandated to prescribe condition when issuing certificates of registration. An example of the condition is compliance with the minimum wage. Should it be breached, it will be granted for cancellation of the certificate of registration. Lastly, Honorable Speaker, on the statement, the previous regulation, that is Private Security Regulation 2019, were annulled by the National Assembly because no effective public participation was, and I hope the Honorable Member Robert is listening, public participation was done. The authority was developed new regulation which are currently undergoing public participation. This process has been hampered by lack of funds, hence the delay in submitting them. In conclusion, Honorable Speaker, the authority did its best to interpret the said wage order. The commitment to pay the minimum wage was within the law. The public notice issued should not be interpreted as a legal notice and a strict sense of the word. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Signed by Dr. Raibon Omolo. Honorable Speaker, kindly, just for a minute, before maybe the member responded, just I want to add one or two things. Honorable Speaker, for clarity, the minimum wage is defined as a minimum and amount of remuneration that an employer is required to pay wage earners for the work performed during a given period of time. And of course, it has the statement has gone ahead to clearly state that in this category, in the private sector, the Wage Council establishes the say in Section 43. And Honorable Speaker, they are stated, for record, in the said, Honorable Speaker, in the said legal notice, it clearly states the minimum payable wage stated for the day watchman and the night watchman, and it is clearly stated that the day watchman is 15,201, the other one is 16,417, not including the basic, not including the house allowances, which are calculated according to the provided laws. And of course, not also including extra overtime. So I want to submit, Honorable Speaker.
Robert Mbui, you are satisfied?
Mr. Speaker, I am not satisfied. Mr. Speaker, there is that report, Mr. Speaker, and the response, in my opinion, they are very economical with the truth, Mr. Speaker. There are three issues that I've picked out from the response. The first one is when they argue that what the authority issued as a notice was not supposed to be strictly interpreted as a legal notice, but an administrative action to guide industry players. Mr. Speaker, why I have a problem with that is because it is actually published in the Kenya Gazette as a legal notice number PSRA 002-2024. So when they argue that it was not strictly a legal notice, they're just being economical with the truth. And Mr. Speaker, they also must realize that the Statutory Instruments Act defines that every legislation which has a full effect of law must come through the House. So, Mr. Speaker, what they have done is implemented a program and given it out there, published it in the Kenya Gazette, and Kenyans have already been made to start to follow it when it hasn't gone through the House. Mr. Speaker, secondly, they've also said that because my question was whether they have a right to determine the minimum wage without, discussing this with the Ministry of Labor. And Mr. Speaker, what they have said is that they did follow, the authority supposedly followed the regulations of wages, General Amendment Order number of 2022, legal notice number 125 of 1st July 2022 as issued by the Cabinet Secretary. But Mr. Speaker, the figures that have been put in their legal notice are totally different from the figures that were given by the Ministry of Labor on minimum wage. So that again is also not exactly the truth. And finally, Mr. Speaker, they have also avoided to come to the Committee of Delegated Legislation because they were supposed to bring regulations. The argument, Mr. Speaker, that they have given is that they did not have funds for public participation. Mr. Speaker, the committee has constantly invited them. And if they had a problem of funds, they would have come to the committee and explained their problem so that they're given an extension of time. But Mr. Speaker, they found it easier to ignore the committee and then implement the regulation with complete disregard for the rule of law, complete disregard even for the Constitution, because, of course, Constitution Article 94 is clear that no authority, nobody has the ability and the power to make anything with the force of law except Parliament. So, Mr. Speaker, I believe that what they have done is wrong, and they needed to have just withdrawn that legal notice so that we can start the discussions when the legal notice is not in place. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Chepkonga.
Mr. Speaker, first I want to take this opportunity to thank the chair for bringing the response to the question asked by the Honorable Mbui, who is a member of the Committee on Delegated Legislation. Mr. Speaker, this is a matter that has exercised the Committee of Delegation. I have listened very carefully to what the Chair of Security has said Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, I have a serious departure from what he has said. He's my very good friend. But on this matter, it is very clear in the Statutory Instruments Act what a legal notice is, what a guideline is. It is a statutory instrument. The Private Securities Regulation Authority has no business seeking to implement the order issued by the Minister of Labor when they themselves, they are resident in the Ministry of Interior. No one has ever appointed them to implement minimum wage, which is supposed to be implemented by the Ministry of Labor. That is within the purview and jurisdiction of a different authority, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
So for us to be told that we were just issuing a notice, some guideline that has already been issued, it is not their business. The substantive act itself does not give them that power to regulate wages. Mr. Speaker, we've written to the PS, we have written to the minister, and we have told them in no uncertain terms that these are regulations, they must bring them to the House. And secondly, Mr. Speaker, the regulations were nullified by the last Parliament. And the law, the chairman should be careful on this. The law is very clear. They are supposed to bring regulations within 1 year of the promulgation of the Act. Now, this Act has been in existence for the last 4 years. They themselves, they are in contravention of the law. So for them to purport and to pretend that they are trying to implement the law when they have not brought the regulation which is required within the statute itself. The third thing, Mr. Speaker, that has caused confusion is the naming of the Act itself. It is called Private Securities Regulations Act. These are not regulations, these are substantial. In fact, I want to ask the chair to move an amendment to remove the word regulations, because regulations are supposed to be made pursuant to the sections that are contained in that act itself. Because it is inconceivable that an act of parliament is also a regulation. So we expect a better response from the ministry than this. What they are seeking to do, Mr. Speaker, is gerrymandering. They are not responding to the issues that were raised by the Honorable Mbui. And we have told the CS and the PS that they must bring this regulation. Fortunately enough, Mr. Speaker, the person who was a problem in the regulatory authority has been removed by a fluxion of time. And so we want to thank his removal. In any event, it's just been a problem. It's just been a problem to this sector. And so, Mr. Speaker, there is nothing the court needs to pronounce itself on. The regulations are a nullity in themselves. There is nothing to discuss. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Bashir.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I have keenly listened to the statement by the chair, and I think the statement itself is misleading, because what PSRA claims is that they have done administrative action and not a legal notice. However, the legal notice was published by Kenya Gazette, through Kenya Gazette, by the government printer. And so it cannot be an administrative action. But the most important part is that the regulations that are being cited and being implemented by the Private Security Regulatory Authority is one that has been annulled by the 12th Parliament. There are new regulations that are now in the works and in the process that have not even come to our committee of delegated. That means what they are implementing is an illegality, and they are causing a lot of despondency in the industry. My advice to Kenyans, all stakeholders in the security industry, is that the regulations being implemented by the Private Security Regulatory Authority is null and void, and that they should not be cheating Kenyans that they are doing something which is legal. It's not legal, it's illegal. But this House has not approved. The minimum wages are published by the Ministry of Labor. PSRA has no role or mandate whatsoever to get involved on matters minimum wage. Their work is to implement what has been set by the Ministry of Labor. Now it's the other way around. They want to set minimum wage and they want to implement. And that is not their mandate or their role. And I call upon the PSRA, and I want to acknowledge the chairman's resolve that this thing requires all stakeholders to get involved so that we have a regulation that is a win-win both for the employers and the employees. As it stands now, those regulations are not in force and are an illegality. And PSRA should stop harassing and interfering with the work of private security firms in the country. I submit, Honorable Speaker.
Tongoyo, you've had the chair of delegated legislation, you've had Mbui, you've had Bashir. I would direct you that you relook at the statement. Certainly that body on its own has no authority in law to promulgate what looks like regulations. Those regulations must come to this House. There is no other body in this country with legislative powers other than Parliament, which is National Assembly and Senate, and county assemblies. Nobody else. In whatever office, whatever they do must be subjected to this House to become regulations and have a force of law. So you follow it up. Yes, Russell? Yes. Honorable Russell, take your seat, let him finish. Let me listen to this first.
Speaker, I think, kindly, Mike, on your direction, directive well guided. And in fact, you must have noted, Honorable Speaker, that we have been in conversation with the chair of delegated legislation. And I think that is the spirit. But having said this, Honorable Speaker, I think, Honorable Speaker, the big issue here, on record, I think there has been an issue of licenses cancelled, cancellation of some licenses of some players, about 9 in number. Actually, when you were interviewing the CS, I think that question came up. For record purposes, and I've got even actually the certificate, those 9 has been reinstated. The minister reinstated them, so I want to be on record that those licenses have been reinstated. And I think on the other issue, we are going to do as guided by yourself. Thank you.
So,
thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, you have guided on what should be done. But looking at what the chairman has presented in form of a response from Honorable Mbui, I think the first thing is anything to do with labor, it has to be canvassed. It is a two-sided thing, to protect the company and also to protect the individuals who are in that particular labor force. Secondly, as you rightly said, Article 94, Sub-Article 5, clearly says nothing will have the force of law unless it is by this House. Thirdly, when we look at this particular organization, private security, yes, it is a new organization, even if it is 4 years, but it cannot work on its own. It has to work with the Ministry of Labor so that individuals working in those organizations are duly protected. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Tongo, you follow up that, and at some point you will be required to report back to the House what steps you have taken and guidance to this body that if they want to make any regulations, they must follow the procedure and bring them to the House. Yes, Mwenje?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise on the same standing order 44. Honorable Speaker, I've had a chance to talk with the chair of Security Committee. If you remember last week, I'd raised a statement regarding a child who was shot in my constituency. The chair has advised that I think the response is not ready. Perhaps he can be willing to just commit maybe tomorrow or the day after, because my constituents are actually on TV watching. So So it would be nice if you would respond. But Honorable Speaker, while I'm on my feet, I'd also request the chair. In Nairobi constituency chair, Honorable Speaker, we had 4 fires in 4 markets, which is an issue of concern. We had in Toi Market, we had in Umoja 2, we had in Mathare, and somewhere in Kawangware.
Honorable Mwenje, you'll do the House and yourself a very, very good thing if you file even a question under private notice, which we can allow you to make a request on the floor even the same day. But when now you just ambush us with a speech coming in the guise of a point of order, it's not fair even to the chairman that you are directing. Go and file a question by private notice. I'll allow you to bring it tomorrow. We all feel for Kenyans who died in infernos in Nairobi and elsewhere.
Most obliged, Honorable Speaker, I'll do that. Thank you.
And for Tongoyo, the issue of the child who was shot, can you bring the statement on Thursday?
I think, Honorable Speaker, what the member was alluding to, I think the major concern was the child is doing well. He is actually supposed to be discharged from the hospital. The problem was the pending bill in KNH. And I managed to talk to the Ministry of the PS, and we are trying to look into ways of...
Next order.
Order number 8, motion, report on consideration of the audited accounts of specified state corporations. Question to be put.
Order. I'll put the question at order number 8, which is that this House adopts the second report of the Public Investments Committee on Social Services, Administration and Agriculture on its consideration of the reports of the Auditor General on the financial statements of the Kenya Medical Training College for financial years 2017-2018 to 2020-2021, the Kenyatta University Teaching, Referral and Research Hospital for financial year 2019-2020, the Kenya Medical Research Institute for financial year 2012-2013 and 2013-2014, the Kenya Medical Laboratory Technicians and Technologies Board for financial years 2014-2015 to 2020-2021, and the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Council for financial years 2017-2018 to 2020-2021, laid on the next order.
Order number 9, motion, nominees to 4 National Government Constituencies Development Fund committees.
Chairperson, Select Committee on the National Government Constituencies Development Fund, Musa Sirma.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And pursuant to the provisions of Section 43(4) of the National Government Constituency Development Fund Act 2015, and paragraph 5, 2, and 10 of the National Government Constituency Development Fund Regulations 2016, approves the list of the nominees for appointment to the following 4 constituency committees who has been appointed. By this circular was Tiati constituency. The board had received a request for replacement of the member which was gazetted via Gazette Notice 1284 of January 15, 2024. The other constituencies to be affected by the circular are Gatanga and Nyeri town. The names of appointees to the NGCDF committees for these 2 constituencies are still pending. And Mr. Speaker, I managed to talk to the head of government printer, Mr. Hassan, and I asked him to give me the regulations which has changed this which has changed the gazettement. And he told me that he was told by word of mouth that he just needs to send them to the head of public. It will come to an end at various dates in the late 2024 and early 2025. In the meantime, the board will continue receiving requests for replacement due to various issues, with key reasons being the death and resignation of members. We fear that this procedure of names requiring express approval of the Office of the Head of Public Service prior to gazettement will derail the workings of the constituency. Honorable Speaker, the National Government Constituency Development Fund Committee, therefore, is requesting for an exemption for the NGCDF board from submitting the names of appointees to NGCDF committees. We approve the names. Honorable Murugara to second.
Okay, Honorable Murugara, you can second.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I wish to second the motion by the chairperson of the NGCDF committee is concerned. While the proposals for replacement are agreeable to the House, not subject to the State Corporations Act, NGCDF is an act sui generis, which means it stands on its own. It is executed by a board appointed under that act, and it executes its office, has no power to ask for those names to be submitted to him for approval, because it is not subject to the State Corporations Act, which takes care of parastatos. May I also point out that that circular appears to be a statutory instrument. It actually tries to enforce some law, which law we are not told which one it is. If it is a statutory instrument, it must come to this House for validation. If it does not come to this House, it's null and void. Alternatively, this House can call for that instrument to quash it. Finally, let me say, delays, especially in gazettement, would defeat the very essence and the purpose of the NGCDF Act. We require that these committees, as soon as they are submitted, they should be gazetted by the CEO of the NGCDF board. Once that is done, then we move on to implement the act. My position remains, it is the board that is supposed to gazette. With those remarks, I beg to second.
Okay, honorable members, I think there are a few members who wanted to contribute. Honorable members, I now propose the question that this House adopts the report of